Confidence is the cornerstone of being an interesting conversationalist. When you exude self-assurance, people are naturally drawn to you and more likely to engage in meaningful dialogue. Confidence doesn't mean dominating the conversation. It means being comfortable in your own skin and genuinely valuing your contributions. When you believe that what you have to say matters, others will pick up on that energy. It's harder to connect with them, isn't it? On the other hand, someone who speaks clearly, maintains eye contact, and smiles warmly creates an inviting and engaging atmosphere. This is the kind of confidence that makes others eager to listen and participate. Being interesting in a conversation isn't just about what you say, it's also about how curious and open-minded you are about others. People love to feel heard and valued, and when you show genuine interest in their experiences, opinions, or passions, you create an instant connection. This curiosity can transform even a mundane topic into an engaging exchange. For instance, if someone mentions a hobby or a recent event, ask open-ended questions like, what inspired you to start that? Or how did that experience make you feel? These questions not only show that you're paying attention, but also invite them to share more, deepening the conversation. Open-mindedness ensures that you remain approachable, even when discussing unfamiliar or different perspectives. A truly engaging conversation strikes a balance between sharing and listening. If you talk too much about yourself, you might come across as self-centered. On the other hand, if you only listen without contributing, the conversation can feel one-sided or lack depth. The key is to find a rhythm where both you and the other person feel equally involved. One effective way to achieve this balance is by building on what the other person says. For example, if someone shares a travel experience, you might respond with, "That sounds amazing! I've always wanted to visit a place like that. What was your favorite part?" This approach keeps the focus on them while subtly introducing your own interests, creating a dynamic and interactive exchange. The foundation of staying interesting in any conversation lies in confidence, curiosity, and balance. When you carry yourself with self-assurance, show genuine interest in others, and skillfully navigate the flow of dialogue, you naturally draw people in. Being well-informed is a key ingredient for staying interesting in any conversation. When you're knowledgeable about current events, cultural trends, or popular topics, you're equipped to contribute meaningfully. Staying updated doesn't mean you have to be an expert on everything, but having a general awareness of what's happening in the world gives you conversation starters and points of connection. For example, knowing about a trending news story or a new movie can spark a discussion. You might say, "I recently read about topic. What do you think about that?" This approach shows that you're engaged with the world around you and invites the other person to share their perspective, keeping the conversation lively. One of the most attractive qualities in a conversationalist is passion. When you talk about something you genuinely care about, your enthusiasm becomes contagious. Whether it's cooking, hiking, photography, or a niche hobby, your interests make you unique and give others a glimpse into your personality. For instance, if you're passionate about gardening, you could share an amusing or insightful story about a plant you nurtured. "I never thought I'd be emotionally attached to a tomato plant, but here we are," is a line that's both relatable and intriguing. Developing and sharing your passions not only adds depth to your conversations, but also makes you more memorable to others. Storytelling is a powerful tool for making conversations engaging. A well-told story can capture attention, evoke emotions, and leave a lasting impression. To master this skill, focus on making your stories concise, relatable, and relevant to the conversation. For example, if the topic of travel comes up, instead of listing all the places you've been, share a specific anecdote, like, "When I visited Paris, I accidentally ended up at a stranger's wedding reception. It turned out to be one of the highlights of my trip." This approach draws people in and gives them something to respond to. Good storytelling transforms ordinary experiences into moments worth sharing. Body language is an often overlooked but essential aspect of being engaging in a conversation. Your non-verbal cues, like maintaining eye contact, nodding, and using expressive gestures, signals that you're present and interested. A warm smile or an open posture can make you appear approachable and inviting. At the same time, be mindful of your energy. If you're animated and enthusiastic, others are more likely to mirror that energy. For example, leaning slightly forward while listening shows genuine engagement, while folding your arms might unintentionally signal disinterest. Using body language effectively helps reinforce the words you're saying and creates a more dynamic interaction. Preparation is key to staying interesting in conversations. By staying informed, cultivating your passions, mastering storytelling, and using positive body language, you can ensure that your interactions are both memorable and meaningful. Once a conversation begins, the challenge is maintaining its flow. Awkward silences or abrupt topic shifts can stall the connection and make interactions feel forced. The key to avoiding this is to create momentum, where the conversation naturally evolves from one point to the next. Building this dynamic requires active listening, thoughtful questions, and an ability to navigate the natural rhythm of dialogue. For instance, if someone shares a personal story, respond with curiosity rather than simply acknowledging it. Saying, "That's fascinating, what happened next?" keeps the conversation alive while showing genuine interest. Momentum is less about having all the answers and more about encouraging an open exchange. Open-ended questions are essential tools for keeping a conversation engaging. Unlike yes or no questions, they invite more elaborate responses and give the other person a chance to express themselves fully. These questions also demonstrate that you are invested in what they have to say. For example, instead of asking, "Did you like the event?" try asking, "What was your favorite part of the event?" This subtle shift transforms the interaction into a deeper conversation. Similarly, questions like, "What's been the highlight of your week so far?" or "What inspired you to start that hobby?" encourage storytelling and personal sharing, which keep the dialogue dynamic. Active listening is one of the most underrated conversational skills. It's not just about hearing what someone says, but truly understanding and responding to their words. People feel valued when they know you're paying attention, and this builds rapport. Show that you're actively listening by nodding, maintaining eye contact, and offering verbal affirmations like, "That's interesting, I can see why you'd feel that way." When responding, reflect on what they've shared to show you're engaged. For instance, if someone mentions they recently tried a new recipe, you might say, "That sounds delicious. What inspired you to try that dish?" This approach deepens the interaction and encourages them to share more. Shared interests or experiences create instant connections. Finding common ground doesn't mean agreeing on everything. It's about identifying topics or perspectives where you overlap. This can be as simple as discovering a mutual love for a specific TV show or sharing similar professional goals. For example, if someone mentions they love hiking and you enjoy nature photography, you can say, "That's great. I love hiking too, especially when I can capture scenic views along the way. What's your favorite trail?" This builds a sense of camaraderie, making the conversation more engaging for both parties. Humor is a powerful way to keep conversations enjoyable and interesting. A well-timed joke or playful comment can diffuse tension, break the ice, and create memorable interactions. However, humor should always be appropriate for the context and the relationship you have with the person. For example, if the conversation is about travel mishaps, sharing a lighthearted story about your own experience can add levity. "I once packed an entire suitcase of winter clothes for a summer vacation. It turns out I'm not great at reading weather forecasts." Humor like this not only makes you relatable, but also keeps the interaction fun and engaging. Even in the best conversations, awkward silences can occur. Instead of panicking, use these moments as opportunities to steer the discussion in a new direction. A simple technique is to comment on something in your surroundings, like, "This cafe has such a cozy vibe. Have you been here before?" Alternatively, return to a previous topic and expand on it. "Earlier, you mentioned you love cooking. What's your favorite dish to make?" Silences are natural and don't always need to be filled instantly. Pausing briefly can give both parties a moment to reflect, making the next exchange more thoughtful and meaningful. Empathy is a cornerstone of meaningful conversations. Showing understanding and compassion when someone shares their thoughts or feelings fosters trust and connection. Even in lighthearted exchanges, empathy can make a difference by showing that you genuinely care about what the other person has to say. For instance, if someone shares a challenge they're facing, respond with kindness. "That sounds really tough. How are you managing it?" Empathy doesn't mean having all the answers. It's about validating their feelings and offering support. This creates a deeper connection that keeps the conversation meaningful. Keeping a conversation flowing requires a blend of curiosity, active listening, and adaptability. By asking open-ended questions, finding common ground, and using empathy and humor, you can create engaging and memorable interactions. What are your thoughts on this? Let us know in the comments below. If you like this video, don't forget to like and subscribe.